Hi Riley, thanks for sending your question. So let's take a look at problem number 25, and then problem number 26 is going to be easy peasy. So there's a little bit of background information we need to know to be able to finish both of these problems. The first thing we need to know is what slope-intercept form is. So slope-intercept form is the form of a line where it's written y equals mx plus b. M here specifically refers to the slope, and B specifically refers to the y-intercept, hence the name. One of the other things we need to know for problem number 25 is that parallel lines have the same slope. So our line y equals mx plus b is going to have the same slope as the line given 4x plus 5y is equal to 8. And in fact, what we're going to do is we're going to take this equation right here, we're going to put it in slope-intercept form, and we're going to see what that slope is, and then that's going to be the same slope of our parallel line. So let's go ahead and figure that out. As you can see here, I have some boxes just showing us that we need to fill in what M and B are to finish this problem. So let's go ahead and write down the equation of our line. 4x plus 5y is equal to 8. We want to make sure that we have y alone on one side. So let's go ahead and subtract the x term and the 4 attached to it from both sides. And we're going to be left with 5y on the left-hand side, and we will have negative 4x plus 8, or 8 minus 4x, on the right-hand side. Again, we want to have y alone, so we're going to divide both sides by 5. And we'll have y on the left-hand side because the 5's will cancel. We can distribute a denominator to both of the terms on the top. We can't do that with numerators, but we can with denominators. So the 5 is going to distribute to both terms. So we'll have 4 over 5. Let's not forget that x, plus 8 over 5. So we now have this particular linear equation, or this equation of a line, in slope-intercept form, so we can see exactly what the slope is. The slope is negative 4/5, so let's go ahead and write that in. So we've got our M filled in. Now let's go ahead and work on our B. We finished with step 1. We found the slope of 4x plus 5y equals 8. Now we've plugged in the slope, and they've given us some additional information. They've given us this point here. Well, that's because we're supposed to use it. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in this point given to our x and y terms, and then we're going to solve for b. So right now we have y equals negative 4/5 x plus, we don't know what b is, so let's just call it b still. And we have that this line is supposed to go through the x coordinate 2 and the y coordinate 5. So we're going to plug in 2 for our x coordinate, and we're going to plug in negative 5 for our y coordinate. Again, we're solving for b. We don't know what that is, so let's go ahead and leave that in there. Let's go ahead and simplify. This will simplify to negative 8 over 5 plus b. Let's go ahead and add 8/5 to both sides. This will go ahead and cancel, and what we are left with is b is equal to all of this nonsense. Let's go ahead and put this over a common denominator to see what it really is. Our common denominator is 5, so we're going to multiply this negative 5 by 5 over 5. Let's just go ahead and note that, to get negative 25 over 5 plus 8/5. That simplifies to negative 17 over 5, and that, of course, was equal to b. So now we found what b is. Let's go ahead and plug that into our equation. b is negative 17 over 5. It looks like we have all the boxes filled in, so problem 25 is now done. This is the equation of the line parallel to the line given going through this point in slope-intercept form specifically. Now let's go ahead and take a look at problem number 26. So there's an additional piece of information we need to know for problem number 26, and that is that perpendicular lines have slopes that are reciprocals with opposite signs. That sounds kind of fancy, but what it means, for example, let's say you have a line with a slope m equals 2, your first line right here. Then if you have a line perpendicular to a line with this slope, the perpendicular line, let's call it, our second line, is going to have a slope that is the reciprocal. That means we're going to flip this upside down and then give it the opposite sign. Since this one is positive, this one will be negative. If this one were negative, this one would be positive. Fortunately, we've already found the slope of this line, and it's the same line in both of the problems. So this is the slope of the line. So what we're going to do is flip it and switch it. Flip it over and switch the sign. So we have y equals mx plus b. Let's go ahead and make our boxes. So we'll know when our problem is complete. We're going to flip it and switch it. So instead of negative 4/5, we're going to have 5/4, and instead of the negative, it's going to be a positive. So we're going to follow the same procedure that we did for problem number 25. We're going to plug in the points that they gave us, 2 and -5, and we're going to solve for b. So let's just go ahead and fill in this information. Let's see, we had -5 for y. We'll go ahead and plug that in. We have 5/4 for our slope, and our x-coordinate was 2, so let's plug that in. Plus, we don't know what b is, so let's just go ahead and leave it. We're going to simplify, and then we're going to solve for b just like we did last time. This simplifies to 10/4, or you can cancel the 2 and the 4. Let's just go ahead and do it that way to get 5/2 plus b. Let's go ahead and subtract 5/2 from both sides so we can get b by itself. So -5 minus 5/2 is equal to positive 5/2 minus 5/2 would just be 0, so b would just be by itself. Let's give these guys a common denominator. The common denominator is 2, so we're going to multiply by 2/2. -5 times 2 is -10, that's over 2, minus 5/2. That simplifies to -15/2, and that of course was equal to b. So this is going to be our y-intercept. Let's go ahead and plug that in. Okay, so we've done both of these problems. Let's just do a basic check. So here I have the lines that we're working with. The blue one is the original line, 4x plus 5y equals 8. The red one was the line that's parallel. We can see graphing that it is indeed parallel to this line. So that's a good graphic check. This is the line with the equation that we just wrote, this one right here. And graphing that, we can see that it is indeed perpendicular to both of the lines. So we do have the correct equations. Thanks again for your questions, Riley, and I look forward to answering more of your questions using Snap Math in the future.